Hello, and welcome to US Streamer for Thursday, March 5th, 2015. I'm Jeremy Parrish, and I'm going to be playing Metroid. It's an old game, but hopefully still a good game. So I've let the title screen and the attract mode run for a while, and I guess at this point we can jump into the proper game. So I'm going to start a fresh game here. No passwords, no save states, or anything like that. Just pure Samus running around with 30 points of health and no missiles. So I will be I'll be keeping an eye on the chat and my Twitter stream, GameSpite. So feel free to ask me any questions. Not that you probably have any questions about this game from 30 years ago. But, you know, you can comment. I'll listen. So here we see our first little nice bit of design. You start out with the ability to basically shoot in 3 directions, but you grab this little ball, and whoa, what's going on here? I can't get past. You press down, and you can roll into a ball, because it's a ball, and it makes you a ball. See? Great design. Those little balls that I pick up from the enemies that I shoot do not turn you into a ball. They give you health. The Wii U gamepad's a little fussy. It's kind of running in slippery directions, which is weird. Unfortunately, I'm playing this on Wii U Virtual Console as opposed to, like, say, a cool RGB modded NES or something like that. So technically it's emulated, and as Hideki Kamiya has noted publicly and angrily on Twitter, the Wii U NES emulator is kind of crappy. Especially if you compare it to like the Game Boy Advance emulator, which is fantastic. But for whatever reason, Nintendo didn't feel like putting full effort into making the NES emulator on Wii U nearly as good as it was on the original Wii. They were kind enough to outsource the GBA emulator to M2, who does really awesome retro and emulation work for Sega, and basically they're kind of the gold standard for emulation, but whoever put the NES emulator together for Wii U needs to be slapped around a little bit. But it'll do the job. I've never had it crash on me or anything. It's just kind of blurry and a little bit dark. But such is life. Anyway, Metroid, 1986, I think, 87 Nintendo game, originally released for the Famicom Disk System in Japan, and then when it was brought to the US, they kind of stopped and said, wait a minute, the Famicom Disk System allows you to save game progress, and you can't do that on a normal cartridge. And so they invented, or at least implemented a password system, a really complicated password system, to allow you to save your progress in Metroid, which in some senses is extremely inconvenient because it's really easy to miswrite and misinput password code data, especially some of the ambiguous letters and numbers like 5 and S and 0 and O. But on the other hand, it did allow for all kinds of crazy stuff, like the infamous Justin Bailey code, which wasn't actually a code, it was just kind of a lucky string of letters that allowed you to start in the New Game Plus mode. Engage Ridley, motherfucker, you know, that kind of thing. Sorry, I'm trying not to make this too unfriendly to families and little kids. Apologize for my language there. Anyway, it was kind of a big deal at the time. If you kind of take this game into the context of when it was originally released, the NES in 1986 was just barely getting started in the US. The Famicom had been around for a few years, but the games for the Famicom in 1986 were not really that great. Super Mario Bros. Was only a year old. This came out less than a year after Super Mario Bros. So that was kind of the beginning of the platformer genre in earnest. And Metroid came into that really early along and did this crazy thing where you're not just running right to left, you can also go, or left to right, you can also go right to left. It has this big, huge shaft that I just climbed. You can go back down it. You have to go back down it to beat the game. You have to backtrack throughout this really confusing labyrinth of passages collect items and weapons. Speaking of which, it's been a couple of years since I last played this, and I'm getting old and my memory is failing on me, so bear with me. I can't actually remember where all the items that I need to collect are, so this will be a journey of discovery for both of us. It's kind of sad because the last time I played this, I wrote a really complicated or complex and comprehensive analysis of the design of the game, so you'd think that I would, you know, all this stuff would be fresh in my memory, but the reality is that, like I said, I'm getting old and forgetful, and also when you play a game to do the blow-by-blow design analysis, you play it in little tiny chunks, and it's actually really confusing and really hard to kind of keep track of what you're doing. So I'm just going to run around and explore and probably go the wrong direction, but by God, isn't that part of the fun? Let's see. So the first things I need to collect are missiles, the long beam, and the bomb. Those are kind of the essential tools for navigating Metroid. And actually the long beam is technically optional, but okay, so that's a dead end. I was thinking that was a dead end. The missiles or the long beam is technically optional, but it really kind of sucks to play the game without it because you can't shoot stuff, and that's not fun. But I guess if you want to try to beat the game on hard mode, you can do that. One of the cool things about... Ooh, took my first bit of damage. One of the cool things about Metroid at the time was that... Come on, what is going on here? There we go. Alright, so I need a bomb to get through here. Time to backtrack. And here you thought I was an expert at this game. Well, you're wrong. Never overestimate my competence. Let's see. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Metroid was really cool because it took sort of the design of Super Mario Brothers, you know, platforming, running, jumping, shooting, that kind of thing, and sort of combined it with the complexity and depth of The Legend of Zelda, which had come out about, I want to say like 5-6 months before Metroid debuted. And so you have, you know, an action game, running, jumping, shooting, like I said. Did I come through here already? I think I did. That was stupid. All right. Yeah, so in addition to being forgetful, I'm also distracted by trying to hold a conversation and keep an eye on the Twitch stream, the chat. So my apologies there. Man, this game should be second nature to me. It's really embarrassing that I can't remember where anything is. Anyway, so action game, but you know it has that kind of Legend of Zelda complexity where the whole game is a labyrinth, and you're collecting items and weapons and tools to improve your abilities. But unlike Zelda, a lot of the abilities you collect in this game aren't just tools to open doors. But they're actually integral abilities that help Samus, the bounty hunter who's the main character, fight through the passages of planet Zebes and destroy enemies more effectively. So as your abilities and powers to shoot and destroy things increase, so do your abilities to explore and roam through the game world. It was a really kind of clever idea. And here's something. Oh. Okay, a much needed energy tank. And I'm playing this without a net, by which I mean without music, which is kind of an important part of the game, important sound effects, but I don't want that to bleed over into the stream, so I'm making do without. But you guys at home can enjoy Hirokazu Hip Tanaka's rad soundtrack, which was much more atmospheric than anyone had really heard in an NES game at that point. It was usually like goofy calliope music, but this was atmospheric sci-fi tunes. I want to say the bomb is this way, but I need missiles first. Yeah, I've really bungled this. Okay, alright. I'm sorry, everyone. I can't really read the stream while I'm playing this, but I'm going to assume that everyone is angry at me for being such a doofus. But you know, the whole thing about getting lost here in the middle of Zebes This is actually part of the appeal of Metroid. I mean, this... the whole concept of having this action game where you really had no idea what you were supposed to do, where you were supposed to go, yikes, was pretty unusual. This was around the time that Japanese developers on Famicom were starting to do exploratory games. I think late 1986, 87 saw games like Rygar, which was totally different than the arcade game, The Legend of Madola, or Wing of Madola, sorry, Zelda 2. Like, all of these games started to kind of hit around the same time, and you know, that was because the Famicom disk system allowed bigger games, but also because chip technology in the NES was improving to allow for bigger and more complex games. So there was kind of this, like, as the boundaries grew, people were able to do more daring, more adventurous things with game design, and you really saw this kind of huge explosion of creativity and ambition on the NES around this time, and Metroid was really one of the first games to sort of usher that along. Nintendo has said that they designed Super Mario Brothers as sort of the ultimate kart game, because the Famicom disk system was coming along a few months later. So that was kind of the meant to be sort of the grand farewell to just pure cartridge design. And Zelda was meant to be sort of the showcase for Famicom disk system. Of course, the Famicom disk system ultimately became a bit of a dead end because Famicom carts, NES carts, became big enough that they made the Famicom disk system obsolete. So Super Mario was not actually the ultimate cartridge game, but that's okay. It's fine to make those little errors. Okay, there we go. So I have my first missile. And the way this works is that as I'm running along, I can hit the select button, Samus's colors change, and instead of shooting just bullets, she shoots missiles. Missiles are much more powerful for firing at enemies. They'll destroy most enemies in a single hit, which is rad. And of course, this is the classic strategy of farming hit health and missiles from those stupid pipes where enemies appear infinitely. Wow, I'm doing really badly here. So sad. Alright, so I'm headed back to go get the bombs that I should have been able to get before if only I'd had enough sense to bring missiles along. I could have gone straight ahead on the path that I was going where I collected the missiles, and that would take me to another zone of the game, but that would also be kind of pointless because you know, I really need bombs to be able to get around. They're not just a weapon, they're also a tool for navigation and exploration. So like I said, you know, Samus's abilities were great because they made her more powerful, but they also increased her ability to explore and discover and make her way through the mazes. Anyway, so we're at the 15-minute mark here on the stream. For those of us just joining for some reason, I'm Jeremy Parrish. I'm from US Gamer, gamer.net, and I am playing Metroid here on Wii U, the original Metroid from 1986, and doing a pretty terrible job of it. But hopefully my ongoing running babble will help liven things up and make up for my general ineptitude. I can't wait to go back after this is over and read what the chat says. It seems like there's a lot happening over there, but I can only see it out of the corner of my eye. God, you jerks. Oh. So the water there is very toxic because I guess it's like high in alkaline or something, I don't know. But Samus takes damage when she falls into it, so it's something good to avoid. And I'm feeling really stupid because I cannot for the life of me remember where the long beam is. Maybe it was back at the first, like midway up the first shaft. Tell you what, I should know this game inside and out. It was a formative moment in video game history for me, and yet here I am 25, 30 years later struggling to remember anything. This is why you shouldn't get old, kids. There's nothing good to come from it. Also, your reflexes become terrible and you play Metroid really badly on a public stream so that the internet can watch your disgrace. Shameful. Alright, so back up this shaft. They really did like their shafts in this game. Big fans of blaxploitation. Alright, so here we are in one of the item rooms, where I will get an item. It does not actually say item get, but that's what I do. The different enemies drop different values of energy when you shoot them. Right, that guy's tough. I'm not gonna mess with him. Normally, an enemy that you shoot will drop a health ball worth 5 points, but these big guys will drop a health ball worth 20, and I think the Metroids drop health balls worth 30, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so here we are at the red door. My regular bullets do nothing, but I can switch to missiles, and 5 missiles, which is my total loadout right now, will open the door, and there's this little guy with a bubble, and I shoot the bubble, and now I have bombs. So now I'm making my way in the world today. It's taking everything I've got, but, you know, that's how it goes. So this is great because now I can blow up those jackasses who are too low for my gun to hit, since Samus can't duck. Metroid cannot crawl. Bombs are actually pretty powerful. You jerk. He knew I was going to try to shoot him with bombs. He just knew it. Oh, so sad. One of the interesting things about Metroid is that the way that the damage is allocated, basically instead of being hit harder by different enemies, damage is allocated by zones. So here in this initial zone, Brinstar, enemies only hit you for 8 points of health. So you can take quite a bit of damage, but then you get to later areas and you're taking like 15 points of health, and it sucks. So there's cool stuff up here, but I can't get up there because I can't jump that high, and I don't have the ability to turn these guys into stepping stones yet. So this is once again a dead end, but I do have a bomb. And that means I can find secret passages. There's all kinds of weird, crazy things you can do with the physics in this game because they were really trying hard to make an advanced sci-fi video game, and sometimes I think they were punching a little bit above their weight. So the physics in this game are kind of glitchy and weird, but you know, you can do interesting things with it, and if you're really good, unlike me, you can find shortcuts and various exploits to get past bad guys. Me, I'm just going to settle for not dying. That would be cool. I'm not doing a good job of it, though. Alright, so with the bomb in hand... oh, see, there's a glitch right there. Like, I got trapped in a door with a bad guy, and it just followed me and blew me up. So here's an example of using bombs to find secret passages, which is pretty rad. It looked like an innocuous corridor, but in fact, it had a hole in the ground that I could bomb through. You have to be kind of careful though, because this early in the game you don't really have a lot of navigation abilities. And some of these secret passages, basically if you get into them, you could really screw yourself over if you don't have the ability to get back up. You really need the high jump to be able to do that, and that's a ways away yet. So at the bottom of this passage, there's dudes who attack me while I'm in the door, which is really cheap. I don't think it was meant to be cheap by design. I think it's just glitchy, kind of crummy programming. But you know, what do you want? This was an innovative masterpiece in its time. So you may have noticed that my missile count was reduced to 0 when I blew through that door, but it's back up to 5 because enemies drop little missile icons which you can use. So that's great because it means I can blast through this door as well. And this, I believe, is the ice beam. Yes. Alright, so I now have the ice beam and I can freeze enemies. I cannot blow through here, but it's kind of cool that I can roll over here and I can see... Actually, am I supposed to be able to see that passage? I think the game is glitching on me. Oh well. Anyway, so I just saw a little bit behind the curtain there. A passage to which this is not technically connected, but basically the whole world is sort of interconnected and everything is adjacent to everything else. Alright, so the freeze beam is pretty cool because it basically allows you to defy the laws of physics and freeze enemies, and except those little guys who just take one hit. They'll eventually thaw, but the freeze beam itself doesn't really do any damage. You have to shoot an enemy again to thaw it. If it's an indestructible enemy, you can't thaw it. It stays frozen. But you can use frozen enemies to jump like in a platform. It's kind of a makeshift platform, and it's pretty handy. It also means enemies take twice as many hits to kill, but you know, that's a trade-off. And here you can see one of the game's glitches, like an issue with the palette or something, because it was kind of drawing data on the fly, and I guess it couldn't keep up at that point. I'm not actually sure. Am I going to be able to get out of here? No. So I kind of need a dude to come along. Oh, there we go. I can glitch my way up into the floor. Thank God for crappy programming. So those guys become much more trivial now that I don't have to shoot them and destroy them. I can just freeze them and take them out of action long enough to run past them. It's a really versatile power. Kind of like Zelda's Boomerang, but way better. Of course, it would help if I had the long beam, because the short beam sucks. Samus is supposedly the most competent bounty hunter on the planet, and yet she goes into action with basically garbage for equipment. So I guess that's just a testament to how good a bounty hunter she really was. Like, if she can, you know, stop all the bad guys, armed without any missiles, a short beam, and 30 bits of health, that's fantastic. She's really talented. But she's a much more satisfying character to play as once you've gone through sort of the entirety of the game and collected all her cool power-ups. So let's see. Let me go back this way. If I'm not mistaken, the charge, or the long beam is over this way. There is no charge beam in this game. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Yeah, speaking of charge beams and other such things, if this the stream goes over well and I don't make a total idiot of myself, then we'll probably do more of these. Yeah, okay, so here's the long beam. I would like to play through the entirety of the Metroid series on streams. We'll see if the market will bear. But it would give me a chance to show off the RGB modded Super NES that I use for playing Game Boy games for Metroid 2, because there's no real other way to play it on a stream without emulating. So that would be kind of a fun novelty, I guess. And then Super Metroid, and then Metroid Fusion, which is a game that I'm currently playing in my free time to write a dissection of, an analysis. And it's a better game than most people give it credit for, by God. Alright, so let's see. Now that I have the long beam, I can go along to the next zone of the game. And if you're wondering why I keep rolling into those little pipes and dropping bombs, it's because you never know where there might be something hidden. I don't think actually there are a lot of hidden secrets in those areas, the item rooms, but it's just a habit ingrained by playing the series for so long. Well, see, if I had a missile I could blow that guy up, but I don't have a missile, so I can't. But I can shoot him from across the screen, and that's rad. No more getting up close. There we go. See? Missiles are great. Okay, so with that in hand, there is one more door up at the top that I can't do anything in. I guess I could show it off just to waste some time and not be able to get the best ending. What do you say? What do you say, guys? Should I waste your time and mine? Get a crappy ending? I say yes. I think that's what live streams are all about. Making bad choices. Because really, this part of the game is one of the cooler little bits. It's very mysterious when you first find it. And it doesn't really explain itself, but eventually you kind of figure out what it's for. This was back in the days when there were no such thing as tutorials or in-game plot exposition and so on and so forth. You just kind of had to wander around until you beat the game or gave up. So, past those pipes, there is this door. Thank goodness I had enough missiles. And then there's this. There's this little hole I can go into, but if I do that, I'll probably die because it's really difficult to jump back out of it. And there's these fat, ugly statue things that don't do anything. So, this is a mystery for another day. Bum bum bum! We're at the halfway mark of this stream, so let's do station break and station identification again. I'm gonna pause. Hey, let's do a save state just for the heck of it. There we go. So if something stupid and disastrous happens, I can I can jump right back in. Let's have a look at the Twitch stream. Okay, it's a bunch of nostalgias. People are talking about how cool instruction manuals and stuff were back in the day. I agree. I see several of my colleagues from across the internet in the chat, which is cool. Thanks for jumping in, semi-competitors. Anyway, station identification break. You're watching US Streamer, the Retro Thursday edition of US Streamer. I am Jeremy Parrish playing Metroid on NES, or actually on Wii U, but you know what I'm saying, what I mean. Playing 1986 Metroid by Nintendo R&D 1. We're gonna see how far I can make it before my clumsy playing causes me to die horribly. This is, of course, affiliated with usgamer.net. You can follow us there and read cool stuff about video games, old and new. I tend to write about old stuff because I am old, and I have trouble writing about modern games without shouting at clouds. That's not true. I just wrote about Wolfenstein: The New Blood today and said, man, this game's gonna be great. And not because it's a classic franchise, but because Wolfenstein: The New Order was great. And I have no reason to doubt that the prequel will be also. So the shafts here are kind of annoying to climb up, but they're really easy to get down. So that's one good thing. Something you may have noticed is that the layouts of the game alternate between horizontal and vertical, and that has something to do with the game engine and just the way the game is designed. This kind of predates the ability of NES games to do multi-direction scrolling in a single area. So to get that kind of two-directional movement, camera movement, they kind of winged it. So some rooms only scroll vertically and some rooms only scroll horizontally. And that seems kind of limited, and I guess it is, but keep in mind that this did come out just after Super Mario Brothers, around the same time as Adventure Island. It was really unusual to see games that could scroll in multiple directions as opposed to just being this sort of arcade-style march to the front. So, points for ambition. If you remember, like I said, The Legend of Zelda came out just a little bit before this, and that was divided up. You could move in 4 different directions from one screen to another, but it was always that kind of flipboard style of scrolling. You couldn't move freely through the overworld. So, you know, this is kind of baby steps in game design and game tech. Wow, what is that guy doing? One nice thing about this game is that it doesn't go overboard with the respawning enemies. I mean, yes, you have these guys with the pipes, but that's the thing, they're in the pipes. When you're in a room and you destroy an enemy, it will stay destroyed, unless there's a pipe, until you leave the room and return, which is much friendlier than a lot of action games of the era, where enemies would just respawn over and over again. Say, for instance, Ninja Gaiden, which came out later than this. So there's a little bit of user-friendliness going on here. This game would be really difficult, really kind of a slog, if it didn't have that element to it. So at this point I've done everything that I can in the Brinstar zone, so it's on to Norfair, the Fire Zone, which incidentally had the greatest music in any video game ever to this point. But what do you expect from a guy called Hip Tanaka? So this elevator room is kind of your sign that you're moving to a different zone, where enemies do more damage, but on the plus side, if you happen to die when you're in this new zone, you don't start at the beginning of the game, you start at the beginning of the zone. Of course, you only have 30 points of health total, which really sucks because then you have to spend a lot of time farming more health. But, you know, we'll take what niceties we can get. To the game's credit, you don't have lives, but you do have infinite continues. So, you know, it's definitely, I was going to say much friendlier than arcade games, but really what you're seeing with Metroid and games like The Legend of Zelda and so forth is game developers kind of figuring out what worked for console games. You know, the NES started out as basically a place for arcade conversions. Man, I'm really sucking it up here. Alright. More missiles. So now I have 10 instead of 5. At least maximum capacity of 10. Anyway, so yeah, the NES started out as kind of a platform for arcade game, or yeah, arcade conversions basically. But eventually games like Metroid came along and expanded it. There we go. So you can duck through a hole there, a hidden invisible path, and make your way into the next area. So that might take a little while. It's not intuitive. There's just this blank wall, and it doesn't look like there's a passage there, but there is. And this is pretty much the defining trait of Norfair. More than any other zone in the game, it really kind of revolves around figuring out how the heck to find your way through unintuitive passages. Kraid's Lair does that a little bit, and I don't think Ridley's Lair does it at all. Ridley's Lair is just like, hey, can you survive? Probably not. Alright, so I'm at the top of the shaft here. Yes, it's another shaft. And I guess I'm just going to fall. Leave luck to the heavens. Well, that's where I could use a spazer. So one thing to mention is that enemies do more damage here. Like I said before, they do 10 points of health instead of 8. So you have to be a little more cautious. Eventually you get an item, or you can get an item, it's optional, that cuts enemy damage in half, which is nice. And you can also get an optional gun, the wave beam, that's much more powerful than your standard beam, but the thing is, in this game, the wave beam precludes the ice beam, and you really need the ice beam to get around and explore, and it's absolutely necessary to get through the final area of the game. So the wave beam's kind of only partially useful. Now let's see, can I bomb my way through walls here? Are there passages I can shoot out? Doesn't look like it, so that's a dead end. I was thinking maybe I could bomb myself up into the to a passage, because you can do this little bomb trick where you drop a bomb in the middle of the air, propel yourself into it, and bounce up even higher. It takes good timing, which I don't seem to have right now, but in theory, it's really handy and awesome. Okay, so back to the shaft, and I'll fall some more, and probably die. Oh, wait, I guess that's it. Or is it? All the zone, or all the rooms in this zone kind of look the same, so this is probably not where I'm supposed to bomb away. Nope. Okay, well that was stupid. And that guy's indestructible, so suck it. Alright, so back up. I think this could be really embarrassing if I can't get my way back out of here. Okay, that wasn't so bad. So I guess that's it for this little spur of the level. The main level is actually to the right. But, you know, I got a couple of, or two missile attachments, so that's great. I'm stronger than I was before. This was a worthwhile diversion. And as before, you can just bomb your way back. Pretty cool. Once you figure it out. That was my video game eureka moment, when I finally realized, oh, I can bomb floors and stuff and find hidden passages. Because up until that point, the game was very frustrating, and I was like, why is everything a dead end? Once you figure the secret of bombing out, the game becomes your oyster. It's not a very friendly oyster even after you figure out the bombing, but it's at least completable. Which is more than I can say for some games of the NES era. Alright, so I have retraced my steps back to the entrance of Norfair. There's little fluffy clouds of asbestos that I'm walking around on. I assume that's what they are. That's what I always thought they were as a kid, because I was, I guess, maybe sort of a strange kid. But it would make sense, right? Like, there's lava down below. It's deadly lava. This room must be super hot, so why wouldn't it be asbestos? I'll try to talk less in this zone so you can appreciate how good the music is. Oh! Those glitchy physics. You can enjoy the music, and also the sound of my Wii U gamepad's buttons, which are very close to the microphone and probably very loud on the stream. So I apologize for that. Maybe I should oil them or something. So here's the first instance of needing to create a path in order to get someplace. I freeze him, and all of a sudden I can reach that platform that was just out of reach before. That's pretty great. I think this is another dead-end loop. Yeah, there we go. So, advanced technique. Freeze him. Oh, that's not working out so well. Advanced technique. Play better than Jeremy Parish does. There we go. So freeze that guy to make him a platform, and then bomb yourself into a bomb jump to reach an inaccessible hidden pathway. That's, you know, that's pretty complicated game design for 1986. Oh, and another free hit for the bad guys. Jackasses. So this was pointless. It's just another ice beam. But in case you missed the Ice Beam in Brinstar, at least you have the opportunity to use it here, or pick it up here. And once again, there's a tube here. But this tube actually does yield some kind of secret if you bomb back behind it. There's these circle dudes who are really horrible and I hate them. But I guess missiles make short work of them. Oops, wrong button. Gamepad. See, if you're really cool, you can freeze this guy over here and take him out of the play field, but it kind of doesn't matter if you're not very good at doing it. Well, that wasn't very good. Oh! Yeah, this is just bad news. There we go, that's better. Yeah. Video games, folks. Alright, so, you know, I'm not going to do that because it's just embarrassing. Oh, actually, you know what? I think there was... Oh, don't! Damn it. That door trick. Not cool. Yeah, so this isn't real lava here. There's actually a hidden passage. And that's a really sneaky one because, you know, you're trained to avoid lava, and it's actually really easy to avoid the lava in that room. Although you have to be sure to bomb down the right hole. Okay, maybe this isn't the room that I'm thinking of. Oh, it's also fuzzy. I'm so old and senile. Alright, I'm getting the hell out of here. That's Metroid for you. I know there's something I could get up there, but by God, it's just so annoying until you get the space jump or the high jump boots. So we'll skip that for now. These guys are the worst seahorses ever. Ugh, what the hell? Okay, that was really strange. And another door. Maybe this will give me a health boost. I know there's one of those around here somewhere. And we're reaching the final 15 minutes of this broadcast, so those of you who have stuck around to watch me bumble through Metroid this long, thank you. You're very kind. If you're just tuning in, be patient. I'm old and fragile, so it takes me a little while to get through the game. But my name is Jeremy Parrish, and you're watching US Gamers Retro Thursday video stream, US streamer, and playing Metroid on Wii U because I don't do the illegal emulation. Just say no, kids. Pay $5, buy Metroid. Even if the emulation on the Wii U kind of sucks for NES, you're still doing the right thing. This has been your moral lesson for the day. Wheel of morality, turn, turn, turn. And we'll go up, I guess. But I did get a bunch of missiles for taking that little jaunt, so that was cool. Okay, that's the top of the shaft, so need to go down one. 2 and 3 doors. And I think I can, yeah, drop through here too. But for now I won't. Because who knows what kind of goodness is in this door. It's probably just a death trap. So I keep mentioning the music, but that's because the music is really good, and also because the composer of Metroid was the first video game creator whose name I ever knew. Oh, God, you guys are the worst. Man, this is just not cool. Anyway, he has a really cool name, Hip Tanaka, so I saw that in the credits and was like, man, that's a really cool name. And when I finally had the chance to interview him, maybe 3-4 years ago, it was a great and glorious day, and I don't think I embarrassed myself too badly. Now everyone should give me health. One of the quirks of the enemy item drops in this game is that they don't really follow any rhyme or reason. In later games, if you need health, they'll drop health. If you need bombs, they'll drop bombs, or power bombs. If you need missiles, they'll drop missiles. It's kind of like what is your greatest need at the moment, but as soon as you top something off, then you'll only get things that you don't have. But that's not the case here. So you can have a full load of missiles and almost 0 health, and enemies will just drop missiles at you, and it's really annoying. Let's see if I can make it up. Oh, I can't. Damn it. I think I might have needed to keep that circle guy alive. I'll give it one more shot. Yep. Alright. Very sad. So I'm going to try to get that circle guy to respawn. We'll see what happens. I said enemies don't respawn if you stay in the same room, but that's not quite true. If you move far enough away and give them enough time, eventually they'll come back. So hopefully he'll be back again. Nope, he's not. Oh yeah, he is. Okay, great. Oh, that wasn't good. I didn't want him like that. Or like that. There we go. Alright. Now, maybe this will be a health energy tank. No, just more missiles. So sad. I'll try to keep my health above 20 because of that's the point at which it starts beeping annoyingly. And I don't want to subject anyone to that. Wow, there's a lot of missiles in this area. It's like the missile zone. And that about wraps it up for this area. So I get to run through the gauntlet of crazy monsters again, and probably die, but what can you do? Well, that was really, really effective. Alright, bombing my way back one block at a time. I definitely am not going to be getting the best ending in this playthrough. I might get the ending where Samus turns away from the camera and hides her face in shame. Oh, sorry, did I just spoil it? Yes, that's right, Samus is a girl. Sorry if you thought she was a boy. Didn't mean to give the game away. I assume Samus is short for Samantha. I'm Samantha. You bastards. Damn it. Alright, all missiles all the time. That's my philosophy. Alright. Okay, so I've seen pretty much as much as I can to the left, so I'll keep progressing right. So in a sense, it is kind of like a normal platformer. Oh wait, that's right. I'm not going right, I'm going down. Yes. Okay, there we go. On to the next. And I see that the hour of this live stream is almost up. But hark, what is this thing I'm about to collect? Something cool, I hope. There we go. Now everything's good. I've got the Hermes shoes. I can run twice as fast and fly around the sun. No, wait, that's not right. I think they're the high jump boots? I can jump so high I can bump my head. And I think this one fakes you out. It looks like there's a passage back here. Oh, no, I guess there is. How about that? Check this out. I don't need to jump on that circle guy anymore. That's how high I can jump. By God. And of course the jumps are really floaty and a little difficult to control. So of course there's these tiny little platforms that I have to jump across. Because it wouldn't be Metroid if it didn't hit you a little bit. Oh, bastard. Anyway, I've entered the weird zone of Norfair, where it's all rocky. So that's good, I guess. I mean, between the bombs and the high jump boots and the missiles, I can pretty much get anywhere I need to go now. I could go back up to Brinstar and collect the Varia, but that would be boring because I'd just be retracing my steps. I can go up here, where I haven't seen before. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't take long if you know where you're going, or even if you don't know where you're going, to collect a few items, and basically not quite totally max out Samus's power. I mean, I still need to collect a lot of energy tanks and missiles and the screw attack, but it's a good start. Like, I have a lot of mobility now, the ability to explore a lot of places. Oh, well, there's the screw attack, so that brings me one step closer to destroy everything. I'd forgotten how a lot of the key items in this game are really clustered up toward the beginning, as opposed to the later Metroids where stuff like the screw attack is spaced out and you don't get it until much later in the game. So the screw attack is great because basically Samus becomes a weapon. Like, at this point, I jump into something, and if I'm spinning, then I'm destroying it, like that. But again, it does make the controls a little bit slippery, so there's a trade-off to it. If you just jump straight up, then you don't have to worry about slipping out of control, but you also lose the screw attack benefit. Anyway, so that is pretty much the hour of our live stream, so I'm going to call it a day now, and say thank you to everyone for sticking around for however long you stuck around for watching me play Metroid. This game is very, very old, just like me, and I can't imagine that it's necessarily the most exciting thing in the world to watch some sleepy-voiced guy play an old video game badly, but here you go. You did it. You stuck around, and I appreciate it. Oh look, there's even more secret passages. This game is just riddled with secrets. My god. How far down does the rabbit hole go? I guess that far down. Okay, well, that's the answer. Anyway, this has been the Thursday Retro Thursday Metroid stream for US Streamer from usgamer.net. I am Jeremy Parrish, and this was Metroid, and maybe I'll play some more Metroid, or maybe just jump ahead to Metroid 2 sometime in the near future. Thanks for watching and participating and commenting, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. See you guys next time. Thanks again.